Just a short note. Leary's Blooming Shrooms. When I was a kid in Concord, Massachusetts, there was a prison at the Rotary. And in 1962, about 50 years ago, Timothy Leary arrived on the campus of the prison with a project in hand that was funded by Harvard and Mass Corrections and God only knows who else. He had a suitcase of artificial or fabricated psilocybin pills. Psilocybin he had discovered recently while he started his tenure at Harvard. No, well, Timothy Leary did not get tenure at Harvard. He was booted for other extravagant reasons, along with his cohort, Richard Albert, for other extravagant reasons. I won't go into that. The time was the 60s. Timothy Leary arrived at Harvard approximately the same time John F. Kennedy became president. The whole world circulated around, as it does now, Harvard Imperium. The war was, I'm talking about the wars, the 20 years of wars that America was involved in, was not really over. It was the fabric of our society, the military-industrial complex. From those wars, the United States government made a very definite commitment towards mind control, and I don't think the government has ever stopped being committed to mind control. After all, what is more important? To control the minds of the people, or to allow the people to control the government? Well, we know the answer to that one. JFK splattered into the cosmos of the eternal Lord because he came up against them. They were not to be bargained with. Timothy Leary and his interns from Harvard came to the Concord prison when I was in high school and brought psilocybin mushrooms to turn on inmates with the idealistic view of creating an ideal society, to decrease recidivism, to make possible for convicts to imagine that the world is more gracious and lovely than their violent behavior causing them to return to the prisons endlessly and causing huge government expenses. Well, we all know where that went. The government likes to have expenses. They like to spend a lot of money on convicts. They don't want convicts to go away. It's just another social order. The prison system is huge in America, like the military. So anyway, Timothy Leary, armed with his idealism and his psychology background, coming from Harvard, he had written a book which probably was the single most important reason why he was at Harvard, in which he went up against the established view of psychology and suggested that now was the time for the client-doctor relationship to meld, that the doctors should not sit in their big stuffed chairs and listen to endless tragic stories, but should get down into the tragic story and see if they can help the people. Fabricating tragic stories is another thing entirely. It's a movie in itself. Timothy Leary came from Harvard armed with a new way of looking at psychology in the early 60s. The whole realm of the first part of the 20th century, just like a seesaw, went the other way. There was a great moment for all people in the country, except for those who work for the military-industrial complex, to think that there was perhaps hope for the future. Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert came into the prison and set and setting is the famous Leary quote, set up situations where they turned on inmates, and they did this for a short period of time. And it's all well documented. Timothy Leary was no sham. He was a clinical psychologist. The records are out there. I don't like records, but I like the idea that Timothy Leary was going to change the world or help it over a hump into a new realm of imagination. One of the stories that he tells about turning on an inmate, because Timothy Leary and his interns also took psilocybin with the inmates, so that there was a gathering of minds, so that one was not a guinea pig. Everybody was in this together. Of course, there were also interns who were monitors. They were helped to see things through for those who were experiencing the shrooms. You know, the shrooms. Holy cow! Ha ha! One moment you're there, the next you're not. But where are you? You're there. And Timothy Leary was looking into the face of a convict right next to him, and the convict said, "Are you okay?" And Timothy Leary said, "No, I'm scared to death of you." Well, that is a very light, badly told story. It is, in fact, part of the thing, is that he was going out on a limb to pioneer, to bring a new world into the minds of America before the government clamped down with, well, you know the story. All of a sudden, the war on drugs was the great illusion, whereas America is the great drug lord country in the world, the greatest. This is what we have emblazoned on our chest. Drugs, any kind of drugs. But that's another story. This story is about trying to think about a moment in Concord, where moments are commemorated. The Old North Bridge and the battle with the British, the beginning of the Revolutionary War. Very poignant. Even more poignant is the fact that Ralph Waldo Emerson lived next to the bridge in his grandfather's house and wrote his first book before he became a literary demigod. Concord, thorough, civil disobedience. Think about it. Timothy Leary at the prison. The moment is huge. So I am proposing, because I grew up in Concord and have commemorated endless items of historical antiquity, this is not just an antiquity story, it is the beginning of the age of Aquarius. We are here now, and it is up to you to share the story, share the Kickstarter project, Leary's Blooming Mushrooms, and make them bloom, because they are good, they are not bad. As Richard Nixon said, Timothy Leary is the most dangerous man in America. Well, guess what? Perhaps to the military-industrial complex and killing people everywhere and taking and raping and being a corporate whatever, it's also America is innovative and idealistic and proud to be free, to seek the freedoms that are implicit in our life, that we grow up to believe. And here we watched the government chase this man all over the world in the last part of the 20th century. But that's another story. There are many stories here, but this one is just about that moment, that very beautiful moment when Timothy Leary and Richard Alpert, later became Baba Ram Dass, came together and decided to create a new picture, to paint a new world, to bring something that other people couldn't believe in because they were so military minded. So, think about this. Send me some money. No, send the project money. Let's put a commemorative statue up at the prison, and in the process make a video about all of the, what I would imagine are bureaucratic descents from the very lowest level to the various highest level. While there are thousands, if not thousands of people who have used hallucinogenics, psilocybin, shrooms, LSD, whatever, these people see the world with a different rainbow color in their eyes. They see the world differently, and they are seeing it good. They believe in good values, not killing values, but good values. They have a cellular sense of reality. They've been there, they've seen it, they've seen what is this that it is. It is life. It is not a military regime. It is the cosmos. We are in the cosmos. Love abounds. It is the common thread of all of us. So spread this to all of your friends who are sympathetic. Let's raise the money and see if we can get something done. Thank you.